What's going on, guys? Just really wanted to come on here and just talk a little bit about how to scale in trading. And a lot of people make it seem so much harder than it has to be. And it really is not that hard as long as you have a proper system in place and you just stick to it and submit and trust the process, right? So, the first thing I want to talk about is you obviously have to have a profitable system or edge. If you don't have a profitable system, or an edge where you are going to be able to consistently make money in the long term, then you have to start with finding one, right? There's millions of different strategies out there that do work. You could go on YouTube, find them for free. There is so many different things that you could do in order to build an edge in these markets, right? There is no holy grail. There are so many low win rate, high risk to reward strategies. There are so many high win rate, low risk to reward strategies. There's a million different things that you could do. You just have to figure out and find what works best for you based on the type of person that you are and your personality type. Me personally, I am not the type of person that could go and have a 30 to 40% win rate and have a high risk to reward system. Like, I would just get so frustrated, like, losing. And I know that. And you have to be able to accept and understand who you are as a person before you start jumping into trading, because it is going to completely expose you, right? I need a higher win rate system that has a lower risk to reward. I need to see that my system is consistently winning. I need to see that I am winning more than I am losing. And you could say that might be an ego thing or whatever you want to say, but that's just me understanding and accepting who I am and putting myself in the best situation to, succeed based on the type of person that I am as a human being. So step number one is to figure out who you are, what your triggers are, and figure out how to build a system around the type of person that you are. Step number two is you gotta start paper trading, back test and paper trade, build data, get some data, see if your system is profitable. If it is not, you're going to have to find something else, right? But there's going to be strategies that are profitable, and you are going to build a bunch of data and journal this and understand what works in that, model or system and what doesn't. And then you have to fine tune. Just because you figure out your model and understand how to trade it, that doesn't mean, okay, you're set. You just take the trade whenever you see that opportunity present itself and that's it. No, you're always trying to fine tune your model. You're trying to realize the conditions that the market is in. You want to be trading every trade with narrative, right? We are not pattern trading unless for some reason that's what you like to do, but I do not pattern trade. I don't recommend you pattern trade. That is how you lose. You have to be able to build narrative around your trades, right? So after you paper trade, you journal, you build data, then you start and you move into a, 150K account, whatever you want to do. And you trade the eval and you trade it with light size. This is your first one. I know people say, aren't you supposed to trade your evals heavy? Yes, but not when you're starting out or trying to, scale. Basically, you trade that 50K, you build, you pass the eval, you build some buffer, you take a payout or two, whatever, and then you scale there, right? But I just want to let you guys know that if you are able to make, let's say, $300 a week with trading, there is nothing stopping you from being able to make $3,000 a week, $5,000 a week, $10,000 a week. There is nothing stopping you. If you can make $100 a week, you can make $1,000, you can make $10,000, you can make $100,000, right? That is the upside of trading, is that there is no ceiling on how much money you can make. And that is why a lot of people get into it, because they see how much money is able to be made. And if you are just so focused on the monetary aspect in your trading journey and not focused on actually building, good habits, a good model, a system, and, building the good discipline, you're not going to succeed. And I promise you that. You can't just focus on the monetary aspect. So, yes, you have to start with that 150K account. Try and take a couple payouts, risk a quarter or a fifth of the drawdown limit per trade. Past that, take a couple payouts on the funded, and you scale up. Now you could go to 350K accounts, right? So let's say you were making around, $500 a week on your one account. Now you're on your 3 accounts. Now you're up to $1,500 a week, right? If you ask me, if you're starting off $1,500 a week, pretty good, right? This is just the beginning. So now you're on your 350Ks. You're making about $1,500 a week. Okay, now you're starting to build confidence. Maybe you could scale up a bit, right? Maybe you could risk either a third of your drawdown per trade, right? Because you have more confidence in your system. You know what you're doing, right? So now, let's say now you're bringing it up to, like $2,500 a week, and you're only on 350K accounts. It's very good. Then from there, you want to move up, right? Then you go to 550Ks. Okay, now you're making anywhere between like $3,000 a week on those 50Ks, 2,500 to 3,000 a week on those 50Ks, 550Ks. And then from there, you just keep building higher and higher. If you want a higher drawdown, you could do that. I personally like to use 150K accounts just because it gives me more of a feeling that I'm not about to get my account liquidated because my drawdown's so tight. So sometimes I do like to use those rather than 50Ks, but a lot of people use 50Ks and there's nothing wrong with that. But as you start, building a higher balance on these prop firm accounts, you start to increase your risk per trade. You don't just stay at, a fifth or a quarter of your drawdown risk. You start to increase, especially when you have confidence. And after you take a couple payouts as well, you start to size heavier. These prop firm accounts, a lot of you don't understand that you're supposed to grab the ROI from them and they're made to blow. Like, you're not supposed to sit on them for months and a year and all that stuff. You're supposed to, rinse and repeat on these things, collect the ROI, try and 10x ROI. If you spend anywhere between $1,000, if you could make $10,000 on the account, you just 10x your money. But even higher than that, if you can make like 25, 30K on your set of 50K accounts or 5 accounts, right? You just 25, 30 extra money. I mean, that's very good. So the whole objective of prop firm accounts is to rinse and repeat them. You're not supposed to get emotionally attached to these accounts because they are made to be blown. And it depends who you are as a person. Like, 50Ks may not work for you. If that's the case, try 100Ks. If that's not enough drawdown for you and you want to, size heavier, you want to feel more comfortable with the fact that you're not going to hit your max drawdown, then you go there too. You go to 150Ks. And once you're there and, you're making consistent money, let's say you're making like 3K a week or 5K a week now consistently with your 5 accounts, then you go to other prop firms, right? You go and you just start stacking accounts. In this day and age, there are now trade syncers out there that copy trade all of your accounts at once. You could have 25, you could have 30 plus accounts at once, taking the same trade. You just execute there and it executes across all of them. You obviously have to monitor to make sure that, it's not getting messed up because this is kind of a new thing. But that is the great thing about prop firms and this current day and age is you could copy trade these accounts across 30, 20, however many different accounts you want. And that is really how you start scaling up, right? If you make $1,000 in a week per account and you have 30 accounts, you just made $30,000 this week. I mean, you tell me, is that a lot of money? I would say so. And $1,000 on one account in a week, it's really not that hard to do. I promise you it's really not that hard to do. And that is really how you start scaling to these, high 5-figure months and, potentially even 6-figure months. Like, it is so doable. And the end goal with trading is not to be trading on prop firms forever. Yes, it's nice to not risk your own money. But once you down the line build the confidence and you really know how to trade and you want to be trading on your own live account because prop firms do hold you back. There are so many rules. You can't swing overnight. God forbid you are in a longer trade where you still like this, you like the trade idea still, but you can't hold overnight. So the end goal is to be moved onto your own live account where you are trading with no rules. It's just you and the broker. You could trade news events. There's no restrictions, all of that good stuff. But prop firms are a tool to get you there. Prop firms are a tool to help you build capital when you don't have a lot of it. And they are one of the greatest things that has came out. As long as you know how to follow the rules, you could stay disciplined, and you use all of the tools that the prop firms give you to your advantage. For example, the lockout feature. There's a lot of people out there I know, and including myself, that when I was unprofitable, I just could not stop trading. I would revenge trade, overtrade, all of that. And on Project X, which is the platform that Alpha Futures uses, TopStep uses, all those prop firms are using nowadays, they have a lockout feature where you could lock yourself out and you cannot override it, and you're done for the day, which is a great feature for people that overtrade, revenge trade. And they also set a max trades per day limit where it'll automatically lock you out as well. Like, you need to start using all of your resources to your advantage, right? Don't think that you are too good to be using these features and you shouldn't be using them because you need to have the self-control and need to be able to build these habits on your own. Yes, you are right in a sense, but using these tools to your advantage is going to help you instill these good habits to the point where you get so used to only being able to take one trade a day that eventually it's just, when they do come off on a live account or down the road, you're not breaking your rules. You're sticking to your one trade, maybe 2 trades a day. You're not over leveraging, you're not doing any of that stuff. So it is a great tool to be using these in the start of your trading journey. And eventually, you wean off them just like a bike and training wheels. It's basically like that. But don't ever think you're too good to be using them, because to be completely honest, some of the best traders I know still use them just there to protect yourself, because there are going to be days where you do go on tilt, and your job as a trader is to manage your emotions and, prevent yourself from doing things that you're going to regret. So I still have mine on. I know plenty of people that still have them on, and as annoying as it may be some days, a lot of times it is there to protect you. So just make sure you remember that. Don't be afraid to use them. And I hope you all found this video insightful. If you have any more questions about how to scale up with your trading and how to, just build along with your scaling, how to start from basically scratch, comment some questions. Let me know. I do enjoy making these videos, but sometimes I don't really know what you guys want me to talk about. So just drop a comment, leave a like if you liked the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Peace out.